Alright guys, I'm out in the shop today and I'm going to give you a quick update on the machine I finally finished up, which is a feed to length machine. It's for a framing company and the guy likes to automate everything he does, so he came to me and asked for a machine that could feed ceiling tape from 4" to 30" and feed it out, cut it to length. I've had several iterations of him changing his mind on what he wants. The last iteration here is we wanted to speed the machine up a bit, and we wanted to change it from cutting the tape to actually perforating the tape so he could tear it off, which would allow us to also add a printer so we can print to each piece and then re-roll that to another machine at a later date. So I'm just going to flip the camera here and I'll show you the machine and basically what it does. So here's the basic machine. Right here we have T-handles. We can take this bar off and we can load a 30" roll all the way across here. Right now I've got a 4" roll of ceiling tape on it. This goes to our alignment rods. These rotate, and we have these shaft collars because we found that we wanted to keep it from tracking in different areas on the blade, and the collars help with that because this machine can feed tape up to 1200 inches a minute, and that's pretty fast when you're ripping off a whole roll here. So the control, this is the basic control. You have a auto. This will go to a USB cable, so you can control this by software. And I work with a software engineer that he has hired. So in their company, they have basically every machine, everything from all the wood they cut, the tape here in this situation, everything is laid out in like an Excel spreadsheet from his design of his house, and then it feeds out to all the different machines and it automates the task, and the guys just build these things like Legos. But here you can switch this over to manual mode, and then you have control. So I have forward, reverse, up and down on the blade. So if I feed it out, this is jog speed for feeding it through the machine. And then I make a reference cut, so I go down, then press the up button. And that's our reference cut for 0 when we're putting a new roll in. And then you just switch it back to auto, and now the computer over here is going to use USB to control the rest of it. The USB on the control here, you have full capability over every aspect of the machine. You can control it by individually by the programmer, or you can have the control itself run it. So we've got the blade. This is what a reference cut looks like, and it tears really easily. We've got a serrated blade. We've got these plungers here that helps push the tape down and keep it down until the blade is fully retracted. For our pneumatics, we have a magnetic piston so that we have an upper and lower limit switch. That allows us so that we don't get any jams. We know that our cutter is completely out of the way. One of the things I've added was this third rail. These are my two feeder, the bottom rollers here inside the machine. These are two spring-loaded rollers on top of that. So these bottom two are what's driven. And then off of that, we have a chain and sprocket. So this is the same size roller here and a top roller. Now that top roller, you can control by a manual switch here. That helps in loading and unloading. It also, what it does right here is help us so that we don't get any kinks feeding across at 1200 inches a minute. Right under this position here, I have a capacitive sensor, and you can see that there. That will actually sense when the tape is out, and it'll stop in cycle right here, which allows us to re-roll and then splice in a new tape and continue on as if we never ran out of tape. That was one thing he wanted to be able to do so that we could just keep re-rolling to a bigger roll, bigger roll, bigger roll. We've got a Evolution printer here, and that will be controlled by his programmer on that side, so the control sends out a signal when to print within cycle. Inside the control, it's fairly simple. We've got, well, I'll show you that in a sec, but inside the control, I'm controlling a DY4N AC servo. That goes to a gearbox. Then we have a chain drive to both rollers down here, and then on the opposite side I ran another sprocket for the third roller. This was a new add-in feature to get it to be able to go faster. So we have our AC servo. These are two custom boards I made. I'm running a PIC 18F4431, and I programmed that with PIC Basic Pro. Then we have our input-output board that also drives the AC servo. 24 volt, 5 volt logic power supplies, and then some filtering and disconnects for the AC servo drive. So we'll come over here. I've got a little test program written in Xojo, so that's what I'm using to control this. So right here I've got, I'll zoom in a little bit. I've got two parts, 24 inches long, 24 1/4 actually, and then we'll just hit run and I'll show you how fast this thing goes. 24 inch may not be at its top speed, but it's pretty close. We also have feedback on the screen that goes out to the USB for the programmer on the other side, so that he knows where each part is, how many parts I've cut. If there's a tape interruption, it also tells him when to print. So I'm going to bump a few more of these parts up. We'll print a few more and then we can view it from the other side. We'll hit run here. I'm going to put it in manual, and we'll put the blade down. We'll tear this piece off. Well, we'll tear this one off. There we go. I'm going to try to do this one-handed, so bear with me here. There we go. There we go, 24 1/4, right on the money. And this will cut within a 1/16 of an inch accurately, and that varies a little bit just with the tape and how much the thickness of the tape, but those are all things you can control individually. So you have a test cut you would send out depending on the size of the material, and then the programmer can say, okay, if it's a 1/16 heavy, I can change that back and then send that out. But that's the basic machine, and thanks for watching.